to Port St. Lucie or Stuart, Florida? I get this question almost every single week. These two towns are 15 minutes apart and they could not look and feel any more different. One is one of Florida's fastest growing cities, new restaurants and new construction homes everywhere. The other has intentionally protected its small town coastal charm, has much easier access to water, and moves at a much slower pace. So how do you know which town is right for you? And that is exactly what we're going to dive into here today. Make sure you stick around to the end, because after helping people relocate here every single month, I'm going to tell you exactly which people belong in Port St. Lucie and which people are going to love Stuart. My name is Melanie Gunning and I am your Florida real estate guide. I am a relocation specialist along Florida's Treasure Coast, which is that Vero Sebastian area all the way down to the Jupiter to Cuesta area and everything in between and all around, including Port St. Lucie and Stuart. I happen to be an LPGA Life member, and every month I help people relocate to the area from all over the United States. So let's get started. If you've never actually been to either city, here's the easiest way to explain it. Port St. Lucie in the Tradition area west of 95 is just going to feel newer. Stuart is going to feel more established. It doesn't mean that one is necessarily better than the other. They're just simply different. Port St. Lucie is a city that is growing incredibly fast. It's located in St. Lucie County, and St. Lucie has embraced all of the new construction. You're going to notice wider roads, more roads, master plan communities. You're going to notice new shopping centers, brand new schools, lots and lots of construction. You're literally going to be able to watch neighborhoods being built from one month to the next. It's amazing. Stuart, on the other hand, is going to feel like old Florida. Tree-lined streets, historic buildings, waterfront restaurants, marinas, locally owned shops, a walkable downtown, the place where you're just gonna want to wave to your neighbor as you keep walking on by. The kind of place where people wave to one another. One of the reasons that people tell me that they love Stuart is because they feel like no one is ever in a hurry. So right from the beginning, you need to ask yourself one question. Do you like the excitement of a growing city, or do you picture yourself slowing down even more? Because really, that is the first major difference. Let's talk about growth, because it's probably one of the biggest distinguishers between both cities. Port St. Lucie, as I mentioned, is one of the fastest growing cities in Florida. Every year, there's thousands of new residents. That growth is going to bring restaurants, new medical facilities, shopping, new schools, new parks, new golf courses, and of course, a tremendous amount of new construction. If you love being part of a brand new growing community, Port St. Lucie will be hard to beat. Now let's compare that to Stuart a little bit. Stuart is located in Martin County. Martin County has taken a very different approach. Instead of encouraging rapid development, Martin County over the years has intentionally focused on maintaining growth. The goal has been conserving green space, protecting waterways, maintaining lower density. Not to say that it hasn't grown, because it has. But they make preserving the character that makes Stuart a priority. That's one of the reasons why you just don't see rows of new construction communities like you do in Port St. Lucie. Growth still happens, it's just much more controlled. I can tell you that I've worked with many people that choose Stuart specifically because of the slower pace. They want to feel more connected to nature, less congestion, and they just want to preserve that old Florida feeling. Martin County has worked very hard to protect that. Neither approach is wrong, in my opinion. It just depends on what you want. So far, Port St. Lucie is winning if you're prioritizing new development. And Stuart is winning if preserving community character is important to you. So now let's talk about one of the biggest questions I get from my relocation buyers, and that is around new construction. If your dream is buying a brand new home with tons of amenities, Port St. Lucie is going to win. And it's really not even close. Communities in tradition like Riverland, Vitalia, Valencia Walk, Valencia Grove, Valencia Cave, Four Seasons Wilder, Central Park, and of course, it seems like every month they add a new community that's popping up. And that's just going to give buyers more choices that they just don't have anywhere else along the Treasure Coast. You have different builders, different floor plans, different price points, builder incentives, rate buy downs, warranty protection, energy efficient construction, and more modern layouts. And if you're moving and relocating somewhere up north, this could be incredibly attractive. You can personalize your finishes, choose your home sites, and move into something that's never been lived in. Now, can you buy new construction in Martin County? Absolutely yes. There are beautiful new construction opportunities, but there are far fewer of them, and the ones that we have, with one exception, don't have the vast amenity choices. Martin County is just simply not developing at the same pace. More buyers looking in Stuart are looking at established neighborhoods, custom homes, golf communities, waterfront properties, or homes with mature landscaping and more character. Neither is better. They're just appealing to different types of people. So ask yourself, when you picture yourself in your next home, do you see brand new construction, or do you picture yourself in an established neighborhood with trees, character, and a little bit of history? Because that answer can help narrow your search considerably. If you're thinking about moving to Florida, make sure you download my free Treasure Coast Relocation Guide. It's absolutely free. It's packed with information about neighborhoods, flood zones, homeowners insurance, property taxes, golf communities, new construction, medical, jobs, and all the things that people wish they knew before they made the move. You'll find the link in the description below. Now, we've talked about growth, we've talked about new construction, but in my opinion, the next topic is what's really going to separate the two communities: the lifestyle, and that's where we're headed next. So let's talk about what I feel like is the biggest difference between the two communities, and that is the lifestyle. Spending weekends on the water are high on your priority list, then Stuart is gonna have the advantage. Stuart was built all around water. The St. Lucie River runs right through town. You're minutes from the Indian River Lagoon. There's marinas everywhere. You can grab dinner overlooking water, spend the afternoon on the sandbar, or you can head out to the Atlantic through the St. Lucie Inlet. Everything here feels connected to water. Now, Port St. Lucie certainly has waterfront neighborhoods and beautiful parks along the river. But because it's a much larger city and extends further inland, the water isn't part of everyday life for many residents. This is one of the reasons I always hear people describe Stuart as more of a coastal lifestyle. If your dream is waking up on a Saturday, loading the boat, grabbing lunch on the water, and making that part of your routine, Stuart is hard to beat. Let's talk about downtown. This is another area where the cities feel completely different. Downtown Stuart has personality, it's walkable, there's locally owned restaurants, coffee shops, boutiques, art galleries, live music, the Riverwalk, and many community events. One of my favorite things is downtown Stuart still feels very authentic. It's not trying to be something else. It simply has the old classic Florida charm. Port St. Lucie is gonna feel a little different. It has fantastic shopping, excellent restaurants. Tradition has created an excellent town center and hosts events year-round. But because Port St. Lucie developed much later, it doesn't have that historic downtown charm or feel. Neither is better. They're just very different experiences. Some people love the energy of new developments. Others fall in love with Stuart the first time they walk downtown. So far, Port St. Lucie has the clear advantage if you're looking for newer homes and newer development. Stuart has the advantage if you're looking for charm, waterfront living, and a true downtown experience. But let's talk about something that affects every relocation buyer, and that is budget. Generally speaking, your dollar for home buying is going to stretch a little further in Port St. Lucie. You're often going to find newer homes, large floor plans, many more community amenities, and more inventory at different price points. This is one of the many reasons why people who are starting their search from New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and even Ohio start their search in Port St. Lucie. Now, Now, Stuart, on the other hand, tends to command a little bit more of a premium, especially as you get closer to downtown, the river, or waterfront communities. You're paying for location, character, access to water, and Martin County's slower growth approach. Again, neither is right or wrong. It's really just a question of priorities. Would you really have a newer home with more square footage, or more floor plan options, or a community with more coastal character? Since so many of my clients ask about golf, let's talk about that. And honestly, this one's pretty close. Port St. Lucie is home to PGA Village, one of the best known public destinations in Florida. If golf is a major part of your lifestyle, you're going to have plenty of options. Stuart has excellent golf. Many are private clubs, and some have a much more established feel and a higher price tag. Others are tucked into beautiful waterfront or just natural settings. So instead of asking which city has better golf, I'd ask what type of golf lifestyle are you looking for? If you're commuting south toward Palm Beach Gardens, Jupiter, or West Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie will have an advantage. You have excellent access to I-95 and Florida's Turnpike. Shopping continues to expand. Healthcare options continue to grow. And many of the newer communities are designed with convenience in mind. Stuart is certainly convenient as well, but just tends to move at a much slower pace. You aren't moving to Stuart because you want the biggest shopping district. You're moving there because of the lifestyle. So, which one would I choose? After helping people relocate here every month, here's what I tell my clients. If you told me I wanted the newest home possible, I want resort-style amenities, I want lots of choices, and I want the most house for my money, and I don't mind a rapidly growing city, we're probably going to start in Port St. Lucie. On the other hand, if you told me if you're dreaming about living near the water, you want a slower pace, you love charming downtowns, you might want boating to be part of your everyday life, or maybe you appreciate a community that has protected its character, then we'll probably start in Stuart. And again, neither answer is wrong. The best community is the one that fits your lifestyle. That's why I spend so much time getting to know my relocation buyers. And we do this before we even start to look at homes. Because choosing the right town is just as important as choosing the right house. And choosing the right lifestyle is going to drive all of those decisions. If you're planning on moving to Florida, there's many ways that I can help. First, download my Treasure Coast Real Estate Guide. It's packed with information about neighborhoods, insurance, flood zones, taxes, golf communities, and everything that people wish they knew before they moved here. Second, hop on one of my free Moving to Florida webinars. They're on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. When you go to register, you'll be able to click which Wednesday works for you. We cover everything from choosing the right town to understanding homeowners insurance and property taxes, new construction, and what to expect after you move. And finally, if you're ready to start planning your move, schedule a one-on-one moving consultation with me. We're going to talk you through your goals, your timeline, which Treasure Coast community in town is best for you. You'll find the links to everything in the description below. I'd love to hear from you. If you had to choose, would you pick Port St. Lucie or Stuart? Tell me in the comments below. I read all of them. Thanks so much for watching. My name's Melanie Gunning. I'm your Florida real estate guide, and I'll see you on the next home tour.